This is a Seadoo Spark Trixx, and this is an iconic 1995 XP X4. This Spark was designed to bring back the playful characteristics of the XP. So with the Spark just hitting its 10-year anniversary since being introduced in 2014, the Spark must be doing something right. So I think it's about time we find out. Oh, and by the way, I bought a Seadoo Spark. So, when the Seadoo Spark was introduced in 2014, it really was the first time we saw Seadoo try to rekindle the spirit of the XP. Over the years, a lot of the playful characteristics that we love got lost along the way. Now, anyone that follows this channel knows that I'm obsessed with two-stroke because they provide that lightweight, playful, great power-to-weight ratio. So after years of deliberately ignoring the Spark, I finally decided to add a brand new one to my lineup. Now, let's not get anything twisted. My two-strokes are going nowhere. This Seadoo Spark is not here to replace my beloved two-strokes. It's more about me experiencing what the new gen has to offer. And obviously, put it up against the holy grail of the 90s in my two-strokes. And later in this new Spark series, I will be giving my honest reasons as to why I purchased the Seadoo Spark, but today I thought bring it to the actual jet ski lake. What more of a fitting backdrop than the XP to actually show you the Spark for the first time. And I've been given exclusive access to the Talbot race lake, so go show them some love. So on paper, this Spark is technically a remake of the XP X4. The Spark has a 900 Ace 90 horsepower, which can be found in this little really hard to get to pouch. I always feel like I'm going to snap that off. This Seadoo Spark weighs, oh my god, 199 kilos because I've gone for the 3-up platform. If you go for the 2-up platform, it's slightly less, it's 194. Then for the XP, the engine's a little bit easier to get to. It's just under here. You have lots of access. It's got a 717cc engine, which gives you 85 horsepower, and it weighs 190 kilos, so weight-wise, between the Spark and the XP, there's nothing really in it. I'm gonna put that back on, because it's starting to rain. I don't want to get my lovely engine wet. Both of these have a top speed of 50 miles an hour, so there's nothing in it. But obviously, this is a two-stroke, this is a four-stroke. Obviously, with this being a four-stroke, it's got better fuel economy, but who the hell cares about fuel economy on this channel? So I'm not going to talk too much about that. As for the hull, the Spark has a hull called the Spark hull. It's obviously Polytech, which is fully plastic. It is loosely based on the X4 hull, but it's obviously going to be wider, and it's going to have slightly more drag, because obviously it is made of plastic. As for the XP hull, I promise it is under there. It's an X4, I spoke about it a lot of times, so I'm not going to, but rest assured, this thing is iconic. The Spark has adjustable handlebars, which makes doing those wheel stands super easy. Unlike the Spark, obviously the XP features fixed handlebars. We didn't see adjustable handlebars in 95. It would have been nice, been pretty cool to see an X4 with adjustable handlebars, but I actually quite like fixed handlebars. The iconic XP obviously has VTS, even back in 1995, and this does help to stop porpoising, it helps in the turns, and obviously it helps to get up onto the plane, and it's obviously purple. The Spark features a VTS the same as the XP, however it's got an extended range, and obviously it uses the newer IBR system, the intelligent braking system, to make it even easier to do those wheel stands, and obviously just be more aggressive with your riding. The Spark has this front storage box. It's not watertight, and what I love, which is a proper nod back to the SP, it uses those rubber straps. If you know, you know. It's quite helpful. It's not huge. It's probably comparable to the XP. So unlike the Spark, you're going up in the world with the XP. You have a watertight, well, supposedly watertight. It's pretty good with a front removable storage bin. I would probably pick this just because I like putting things in and actually sealing it down. With the Spark one, it is a storage compartment, but obviously when you're jumping waves, water just flows all the way through down into the footwells. The Spark also features this little cute phone glove box. Now, there's a lot of abuse online. People say you can't fit a phone in there. Luckily, I don't have one of the Pro phones, so mine fits in there nicely, which is a nice little addition. It isn't watertight though. Obviously, one of the biggest difference is the product styling. With the Spark, we've got that aggressive, futuristic design, and with the iconic X4, we have the neon graffiti style graphics. Guys, you're never going to persuade me that there's anything more sexy and beautiful than yellow, pink, purple. I mean, the designer, give that guy an award. With the Spark, I absolutely love it. It's beautiful, it's red. I bought it this year because it is red and black, and I love that fighter pilot look. I actually like this design more than the new Spark. That's a separate topic altogether. But just to say, I love each of them in their own right. I'm not gonna decide here. You guys put in the comments which one looks better. But that's all well and good. What you all care about is how the hell do they compare? So let's get on one. So unfortunately, it started raining since our beautiful pista cameras. Look at that water beading. Bit obsessed with ceramic wax at the moment. If you've never used ceramic wax, then you need ceramic wax in your life for sure. So this is first time at Talbot, and it's absolutely raining a hoolie. So it's not the best first time to experience it. But a lot of people rave about this location. So immediately, the biggest difference of a Seadoo Spark is it's just a little bit more consistent through the power band. So when you put that power on, obviously it's not a mechanical throttle body in the same way that an old traditional XP is. The Seadoo Spark has that inherent, I mean you can see here, it rocks around the exact same. Feels a little bit bigger, obviously to be expected. It's got the free up platform on it. Don't think we'll be tire jumping today. Maybe some other time if we had a stand up to the channel. So it feels nimble. Does it feel XP nimble is the question. Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, it's fun. It's very fun. I might need my goggles here. What I would say immediately with these palm grips, I could be way more aggressive. I just remembered, I've not gone into sports mode. Double click down, confirm, and I mean it is fast. It feels fast. It doesn't feel as leery as the Spark, as the XP, but it definitely corners with more ease. But it is obviously, oh my god, these bullets, I'm gonna have to go get my goggles. It feels good. I mean, it doesn't have that two-stroke bite your back sensation. It just feels like you could ride it way more aggressively. Guys, I don't know the course. I'm literally just being a hooligan. So one of the biggest things, obviously biggest changes, I'm just waiting for my goggles at the moment because I cannot see a thing, is you obviously got neutral, so the ski sits nice and idle in the water. Obviously guys, you're dealing with like, is this 30 years, 25 years more innovation? So a lot of this stuff, it's not really fair to compare it, but I think the biggest reason why, or one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to add the Spark to the lineup is it's supposed to have a lot of the playful characteristics, which we'll get into in a sec. We'll start spinning it and seeing how nimble it feels, but around the course, it definitely has that real sort of aggressive turning characteristics of an old ski. I don't think he's got that inherent two-stroke power, but that's to be expected. Right, let's grab my goggles and go. And you've got reverse. That's one thing you definitely don't have on a two-stroke. That's watching the 95, because we do not want the hull getting damaged now, do we? So I'm going to ride this a little bit more like a lunatic. I've got it in the low position at the moment. Megan's there filming. Give her a wave. So let's get into this. Tight into the corner. Tight into the next. Slide it. Whoa! Tight. Cutting these corners a little bit, guys. In tight. So it's much easier to be aggressive and intentional. Definitely want more power and speed though. I think a remap will sort that. Tight. Oh, it's catching the boys. It's hard to talk and ride. I'm a guy after all.
So let's see what this thing can top out at. Let's put it into speed and see what this guy gives us. Put the VTS to middle, let's say. 41, 45, 46. So I like that trim position more. Oh, he's getting the hang of it now. Bury it into the corner. Bury it into the next. Onto the back straight. Let's do a tight U-pin all the way round. So to give you what you all want, you want to see some donuts and tail stands. So I'm going to put the VTS all the way up, and I'm going to put the handlebars all the way up. And this is obviously the Spark's party piece, as everyone knows. You put the feet on the foot wedge, and the nose comes up. And it's just easy to do. I mean, if you compare that to a old two-stroke, you'd be fighting against that. But you can hold it there all day long, and it's very, very intuitive. And that power band's really, really nice. And then I've got to be semi-careful because I've got a mic on. If we want to then start spinning it, I'll put these down into the lower position. And let's give it a few spins. So this is where I would say I'm missing my 95 now. When you spin a 95, you definitely notice that inherent shift of weight a bit more than you do on a Spark. A Spark kind of, oops, smashing the camera about. On a Spark, you definitely find that you're having to work harder to throw it around in the same way that you can that XP. I'm probably waffling, but I am. Oh, got a bit of spray. But the one thing I do like about the Spark, you put the VTS all the way up, you spin it, and you can then do the bunny hops. Right, so while that's fresh in my mind, let's get straight on the XP. So that was a lot of fun, bless my dad. So switcheroony time. So one of the biggest difference I think we're going to see straight out of the gate is you've obviously got fuel clock on the originals. I just love how tippy these ones are. On the button though, guys. So that noise is unmatched. That's the first thing to say immediately. This is an event, isn't it? So what I love about the XP, it's like a skipping stone. You know, you turn, it slides, you accelerate, and it accelerates. Now the Spark does all of that, and I love it. So immediately the biggest difference with this, I mean, just listen to it. That's just, for me, irreplaceable. And the handling on this is very comparable, but obviously the XP, it's got a little bit more of an aggressive, I mean, look at it, it's a real playful ski. It's a joy to behold. So I would say out of the whole, this ski feels faster. It's 85 horsepower versus 90, 700cc versus 900, but I don't know what it is. Something about the two-stroke power, to me, just inherently feels faster. I mean, what I've noticed there is the oversteer and understeer. You're fighting it more the whole time. There we go, a little bit of trim there. It's trim. So the handling It's like a Brocken Bronco. Can I even say it? I'm definitely more apprehensive to ride this one like a lunatic with a 500-pound microphone strapped to me, because the chances of me coming off of this one are exponentially higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take this helmet off, take the expensive mic off, and then I'm going to ride this ski around like it should be rode around, and you'll see. Oh. So before I get rid of the mic, let's do a few donuts without falling off. So the biggest difference on this is it's going to spin a lot faster. There we go, look, it just turns a lot quicker, a lot faster, and you're not having to work at it. And that's what I think is irreplaceable about an X4, is, you know, is a very, very playful ski. Okay, I'm going to ditch the mic.
So that's a number of laps under my belt, and I must say there is some comparable things about both. It's almost like copy and paste. So obviously the Spark is a much more refined version of a good old XP, but that's not to say the XP can't do things that the Spark can do. It's just that if you try to do them in the same fashion, you're likely going to end up in the water. One of the biggest things about the XP that I love is that you corner it and it kind of just bites you back in ways that you can't really predict, so that keeps you guessing for a lot longer. Whereas with the Spark, within sort of 3 or 4 laps, I basically have the grasp of exactly what it's going to do time and time again. That coupled with the fact you have things like the palm grips, you can adjust the steering stem, the overall compliance and rideability of it, I could probably stay out there for about 30 minutes. With this, it's more like 35 seconds. But obviously, there's more skill that goes into riding this fast, which kind of gives you a bigger sense of pride, I guess. So with the Spark, one of the things that I noticed straight away out of the gate is that because you have that more elevated riding position, you really feel as if you can get into the corners and lean, and it just feels as if you're more of an extension of the ski. Whereas with the actual XP, watching back the footage as well, you almost feel like you're sat on top and you're a lot higher, so you naturally feel like you're having to adjust your center of gravity more frequently. Now, the biggest thing I will say, power band on this 2-stroke it's exponentially faster than this one, or at least the feeling is. Now, on paper, both of these are 55 miles an hour, but just when you punch out of a corner, this kind of like rips your arms, whereas this is more of a pleasant acceleration. It's still got it there, it's just you find that you're on the full throttle more of the time than what you are on this. Which I prefer, I'm not 100% sure. I kind of like that exhilarating feeling of point and shoot, and you're into the next corner, and you're into the next corner. But there was a couple of times I tried to do things on the XP that I was doing on the Spark, and I was nearly off. Now, the party trick of the Spark is obviously the fact it's got that extended VTS, it's gonna stand up on its tail, and you're gonna do wheelies for days. Compare that to the XP, the way that you're gonna get this ski wheeling to its best potential ability is to spin it, and naturally, the gravity, the center of gravity wants to lift that front nose, but you're not gonna be able to hold it for as extended periods of time as you can with the Spark. But that being said, when you come to spin it, this thing will spin 360, this one you have to work a lot harder. This will definitely have the ass flick round on you, but this one will basically keep spinning and spinning and spinning. So the bit that you're all gonna put in the comments is, which one do I prefer? I'm never gonna be able to give you a definitive decision. This does things that I just can never be recreated in a more modern day 4-stroke. That high revving power band of a 2-stroke, I just absolutely love. But then there's things about this XP, I've gotta be honest, which you're all gonna hate me saying, just won't live up to the Spark. That extended VTS is insane. Literally, it flicks up in seconds compared to the XP, which takes a little bit longer, and you're doing wheelies, you're popping out of the water before you know. And I think it's kind of got the early stages of what I would call ergo lock on here, whereas you don't have that on here. If you try to lock your knees into this ski, you're gonna be going into a grill, so it's not quite the same, but I love both of them in different ways. Obviously, I need probably a little bit more power out of the Spark, in all honesty, whether that can be achieved with a remap, maybe a new impeller, ride plate, go to town. It is new after all, so I can be a bit more creative with the aftermarket mods that I do. Whereas with the XP, you know what I'm like, OEM, so this is not being changed. I will ride this the way that it would have came out of the box in 1995. I think this could probably definitely do with some new sponsons at times. I'm thinking like, I could alleviate some of the things I'm experiencing from a rider experience point of view, but I'm not going to change it because it's OEM, so that's the way I roll. So I think there's only one thing left to do, and that's drag race them, which I'm going to rope my dad in to help, and then I'll do a time lapse on the XP and a time lapse on the Spark, and you guys will be able to actually see on paper how fast each of them are and which is quicker. So put in the comments what you guys think. Obviously the XP off the line, when my dad doesn't jump the start, that is quicker. It's got more power and it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. But if you find yourself to be in a position where you're behind the Spark, trying to follow is a hard job. And I was quite happy with how I was able to follow on the XP. I'd actually prefer to follow someone as opposed to being out on an empty lake. I know that sounds weird, but it just kind of gives you somewhere to point and shoot. Now, the Spark, what does it do better? What does it do worse? In the corners, you really can cling on and be more aggressive, whereas with the XP, you have to be more selective. However, with the XP, you have more power to keep on the tail of the Spark, whereas if you're behind the Spark on the XP, it's getting confusing, I know, is that much harder with the Spark to stay on the back of the XP, if that makes any sense. Because you don't have the inherent power there. I know I say you don't have the inherent power, it is a 900cc 90 Ace, but it just doesn't feel as fast as the XP. As for the hull, I think they've done a very, very good job. Obviously, I'll be riding it a ton more in the future to be able to keep comparing it, but the hulls do have very, very similar characteristics. But as always, you guys put in the comments, you can decide. Let me know if I made a good or a bad decision buying a Seadoo Spark. Guys, thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's keep the classics alive and introduce a new modern classic. Can I get away with that? You guys put in the comments.